Hey guys, it's GMC Nerf Project here, and in this video I'll be covering an electrical mod guide for the Nerf Stryfe. This modification is implementing an electric braking circuit for your motors. Here are a couple clips of how the Nerf Stryfe sounds before and after modification. This is not a mod guide on how to mod the Nerf Stryfe in its entirety. There are some awesome videos online. Coop772 has one, Nerf Boy Productions as well, and those are very sufficient. But this is focusing on a very specific mod to the Nerf Stryfe and to flywheel blasters in general. When completed successfully, the mod will allow the Nerf Stryfe's motors to spin down more quickly, therefore reducing the amount of time that your blaster is producing noise. Since the main drawback to flywheel blasters is the amount of noise that they produce when they're firing, this mod is very useful in reducing that noise, or rather the time that your blaster is loud. This mod requires no materials at all, except what comes inside of the stock Nerf Stryfe, and skill needed in soldering wires. You may need some extra wire as well. Alright guys, let's get right into it. In the stock Nerf Stryfe, the motors are controlled by a single switch that breaks the circuit. This is the rev trigger. This cuts off power to the motors, but the motors spin down rather slowly. If the motor is disconnected from the power source, but then the positive and negative leads are connected without the power source, the motor's rotation works against itself and the motors spin down much more quickly. This is called shorting a motor.
I don't usually like to do handheld video, but this is the best way to show it. These are RM2s on 6 volts with a regular circuit. Now in this next test, I'm going to immediately apply the negative to the positive contact, which is going to short the motors, and you can hear them spin down very quickly. One more time, a little better.
If you have a stock flywheel blaster in which the locks have not been removed yet, you can test and see this for yourself. Simply open the jam door while the motors are still revving at high speed, and the motors will stop much more quickly than if you had simply released the rev trigger. This is because the jam door lock is shorting the motors. In the circuit that we are going to build, we will be replacing the original rev trigger with the lock that was actually in the jam door. That will allow us to short the motors without adding any extra materials whatsoever. Everything came from what was originally inside the Stryfe. No extra switches or components are required. In this slide, you can see the switch used in the jam door of the Nerf Stryfe, and you can see that it is different from the stock switch used in the rev trigger. Here there are 3 inputs, while the stock rev trigger has 2. This third input is going to be wired over to the negative battery terminal, and then by being connected to that, over to the motors. You can see here that you're just going to wire the original 2 that were in the rev trigger in the bottom 2 slots of this switch. Here's a couple pictures to show you that. Now, I'm not going to go through the process of installing the switch step by step. This video is not really a mod guide, but rather a mod overview and explanation. I simply wanted to showcase my use of this concept that is new to the Nerf community. Shorting motors and motor braking circuits has been utilized in robotics and airsoft guns for a long time now, but at this point I could find no videos online where this was being utilized in Nerf guns. In my opinion, this mod is a very useful one, and I hope to see other Nerfers utilizing and implementing it in their mods in the future. Here are a few basic illustrations of the circuit of the Nerf Stryfe before and after we have done this modification. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know that I'll be implementing this concept into the flywheel blasters that I modify in the future, but I also wanted to bring it to the attention of the Nerf community so that others can know about it and implement it if they so choose, since this is relatively new for Nerfing. I think I first discovered this concept when I was working on a rapid strike, and I opened the jam door while it was revving and noticed how quickly the motor spun down as opposed to just letting go of the rev trigger. So I looked into it a little further, and I found out about motor braking and shorting a motor, and it was very interesting. And I found that implementing that into the rev trigger could be very useful. It's probably most useful when a LiPo battery is also added to your blaster. That way, with the added current, your motors will rev up very quickly, and then they can rev down very quickly via the braking, so that your time spent while the motors are spinning is reduced as much as you can. If you think this video has earned it, I really appreciate a big thumbs up down below, but if not, I hope you found the concept interesting or at least entertaining. Alright, thanks again, guys.